All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. It's time to talk about it. We're gonna hit a few things in this video, nothing major, nothing crazy. I'm just gonna give my opinion on these three phones right here. Um, this is a tight battle right here because everyone loves, like, there's someone for all of these phones right here. Like, people love these phones, and I understand why. I mean, they're both they're all they all have their own things about them that's great. So the first thing I want to start with is design. Right off the gate, the Pixel 10 Pro XL wins design and hardware. I think this phone is just the most beautiful of all of these three right here. It does have the polished side still, but it just works with this phone right here in this particular color. So this 10 Pro XL wins in hardware. It's got a big, beautiful screen on it. It works, man. This is a good combination. Hardware is solid on here, man. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a SIM tray, but I'm not going to give it a knockdown for that just based on the hardware and the way it looks and stuff like that and the feel in hand. It is a close race between these two. I think the iPhone feels better in the hand, but overall appearance and everything, the Pixel takes it. This is just freaking beautiful. This hardware and design they did a good job with putting this phone together. And they better keep going in a nice way, because when you look at the back of these phones right here, they're all distinctive. You can tell that, oh, that's that, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you see people with this one right here. I see so many of these orange ones like this. I just don't like that orange. The silver to me is the best color after messing with all of them in person. But the Pixel, this moonstone, whew, the moonstone is where it's at, man. It is a solid color. It's very nice. There's just the way the package is put together. Samsung it doesn't look dated, but it's just time for them to do something different. They need to get away from this boxy design right here. Some people love the square round look. I like it. I just think I like the Pixel better than both of these. So as far as hardware and design goes, yeah, this Pixel is the truth. Now, next I want to talk about is the screens. Well, this one goes to Samsung. I think Samsung, they do it extraordinarily well. While I like the accuracy of the Pixel to me is way more accurate to real life. However, the Samsung is just not too far behind, and the iPhone isn't too far behind. But I really like the Samsung S25 Ultra screen. This is where the boxiness plays a strong part for it to me. If you look at the Pixel, there's some bezels around the Pixel, which isn't a bad thing. And then the iPhone comes in next with slightly slim bezels, but the Ultra is just all screen, it appears. Over video, I don't know how this looks for you over video, but if you're fortunate enough to have all these devices, I think you're probably going to enjoy either one of them. But as far as a complete media consumption type deal, the Ultra, the speakers are crazy. This boxy design is good on here for the ultra wide screen viewing. It's just a good, solid screen. And then Samsung makes panels for everyone else. So I mean, that's to let you know right there that, you know, Samsung's winning when it comes to the screens. And like I said, while the Samsung doesn't produce the colors as well, I think, as some of the other phones like the Pixel, I think the Samsung Ultra 25 Ultra is not far off. It's a good looking display. I just like it a little bit deeper the way it looks on the Pixel. So, but other than that, the Ultra wins in display, man. That is where that boxy design really plays a part, and I really like it. I really like how this looks, and I think anybody who wants a phone that's going to be big on viewing consumption and media consumption, the squared off look, like I said, this is where it kind of wins. From my experience, I feel using this design right here to look at a bunch of media and stuff like that, it's always held up good, man. So I can appreciate what Samsung is doing here, and I just think it looks good. I think it looks really good. So Samsung, you got it. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is performance. This is a big thing when it comes to phones. A phone has to be able to perform, or what's the point? So this is an easy win for Apple. I mean, I think most of the iPhones with their silicon technology, their battery, just everything they're doing with their chip, it blows these other phones out of the water. And that's not just for the phones, the computers, everything, the laptops, they're doing everything better than their competition when it comes to performance and power. So much that, you know, when it comes to social media, I just prefer it on iOS because the developer support is higher to me, and they get behind Apple products more for some reason. I don't know if it's because they're getting more money. I don't know what it is, but the support for apps and Apple, it runs deep, and it's sad to say that because Android, you know what I'm saying, it's the truth. I prefer Android, but when it comes to just raw power, performance, these iPhones are blowing computers out of it, like Windows laptops out of the water. It's putting in work, man. So I think it's a no-brainer for me that the Apple iPhone 17 Pro would win for performance and just day-to-day tasks. It just flows through everything. iOS 26 has been phenomenal. No hiccups, no nothing. It's just been really good. So it's a solid performing device, and not just the 17 Pro. Like everything in my catalog that's Apple pretty much is good. I have the 17, I have the Air, which I'm recording with the Air, and I bought the 17 Pro, and I recently switched out and got this 17 Pro Max for that. So I really feel like I even have some of the older generation Apple products, and they're just all really good. Like their chipset and their performance and where they put things down is really, really strong. So to me, that's an easy win for Apple with the performance and power. Google's using their Tensor G5 chip, and they're using the Snapdragon Elite processor that's specific for Galaxy, but it just doesn't measure up when it comes to like the things it can handle. I haven't had any overheating issues with any of these phones, but I bet if I did, it will probably come from the Pixel first. The Pixel's chip is limited in ways to where I can't even do 4K cinematic video. They still haven't done it, and they only do it on the rear. And so that's a huge letdown. But raw performance and power, nobody's touching Apple in the smartphone game. It's not happening. So I'm gonna have to put this next category as a tie for now. It's tough because all of them are extraordinary on battery. They are all solid on battery. Like they are good. They are strong on battery. I've had the iPhone 17 Pro the least amount of time, the Ultra the longest, and then because the 26 Ultra should be coming soon, and the Pixel I've had it after that. So I'm gonna call this a tie because all of these phones can make it through at least 2 days for me. Um, all of them can push down 7.5 or more screen on time for the battery. So it's kind of like on one day I could possibly be doing something, and then one of them gets 3 days or one gets 4 days. It just depends on my usage for that week. But in the end, if I stay on all of these about the same rate, all of them are going to come out on top with at least 7.5 hours of screen on time. And I just think I got it washed out right there. They're all good. You can tell me if you're fortunate enough to, again, to have all three of these, which one of these gives you the longest battery. I'm not talking about battery tests when people put them on like a screen and just have the phones continuously doing something. That's not real, folks. That's a stress test is what that is. It's not a real battery test. A real battery test, you might be on your phone for a lot one day, and then the next day you're not on it at all. And then the standby time, that's another thing, man. Apple gets a slight head nod on the standby time because these iPhones stay at 100% for a long time. And I'm leaning more towards the Pixel too. The Pixels they're sleeping, they're doing better in their sleep time. They're not dying as quick as some of the previous generation Pixels used to do. So I'm really excited about what these phones are doing for battery, but it's a wash for me. Battery life is crazy on all three of these things. Now this is Google's best foot forward on their rear camera for portrait video. I'm not doing regular 4K video because I feel like Apple's gonna win that hands down. Regular 4K 60 HDR, Apple's killing it. They're killing it. So let's focus on the portrait video where it could be a little bit more fair, but we shall see. But this is the Pixel 10 Pro XL's portrait video. Their cinematic video or blur video, whatever you want to call it. It's capped at 1080p, but it's probably still really good. What do you think? Now here's Apple's cinematic videos, what they call it. This is what it's looking like. Again, these are their rear cameras on all these phones, and this is what it is. Apple is known for having some of the best regular style, like regular 4K video or 1080p video. But portrait video, it could be, I think it could be a battle. And so this is Apple's best foot forward at 4K 30 cinematic video is what they call it. What do you think? Now here is the S25 Ultra's portrait video is what they call it, portraits. Because they all call these different. Samsung calls it portrait video. Google calls it blur video, and Apple calls it cinematic video. Which terminology do you like better? But nonetheless, this is the Samsung S25 Ultra's rear camera shooting at their highest rate in cinematic, or excuse me, portrait video. What do you think about this? So that's video. That's video. I think if I'm ranking these, in my humble opinion, I think Apple has edged out Samsung as far as quality goes. You can shoot Pro RAW. You can do a whole bunch, man. I mean, Apple has really stepped their game up on their cinematic video and just their video as a whole, the quality. So I'm really excited to see what Samsung does with the S26 Ultra in January. So this is going to be interesting. I'm really excited about this. So I give the win to Apple for that. However, Samsung's controls, you get a lot more. So I don't have to get into, oh, it can shoot dual video. That's new stuff to Apple people. That's been out on Android phones. But when it just comes to raw, just flat out quality, I just think Apple has come so far. Google isn't even in the arena when it comes to these two right here. And I don't say that in a disrespectful way. I'm just meaning that, why, Google, come on, get your 4K cinematic video, get your 4K blur video, get your video quality up. And the sad part is, regular 4K video, Apple will win that. But then Google, to me, has really started to beat out on Samsung in a lot of areas. So if I'm just doing regular 4K video, it will go Apple, Google, Samsung. But portrait video, it goes Apple, Samsung, Google. And the reason I focus on portrait video is because that's what I prefer. But as far as photos go, man, that's a tough one. Samsung comes in last place for photos for me. And then Google is first, and then Apple is second. So 1, 2, 3 when it comes to that. But this is just a discussion, in my opinion, on this stuff. So I just feel like, if you're fortunate enough to have all of these products, I think you really should consider testing them out and giving your opinion on them on your channel. I really like to hear other people talk about it. So yeah, that's how I rank it right now. Portrait video, I think quality goes to Apple. Google really needs to step their game up. It's not bad either. Let's be clear here. Google's Pixel 10 Pro XL video portrait blur is not horrible. It's just that Apple's quality is better than theirs. Yeah. And Samsung's camera controls is off the charts. They have way more features packed into their camera controls. But Apple's quality just has gone so good. I mean, like I said, I'm recording with the iPhone Air. This is nuts. I mean, the quality that Apple has done, and I didn't even touch on the front cameras because, let me be clear here, Apple wins. Apple wins front camera. Apple wins the front camera because they've stepped up in an area that other people lack. Like remember Sony, remember the phones that Sony made back in the day that had better front cameras than rear cameras because they wanted you to focus on vlogging and get the best experience? Apple just doing that all over again. That's all it is, folks. Apple has won the camera game hands down. Fight me in the comments section. So an area that kind of could be controversial, but it's really not, is price. Apple phones always cost more than Android phones, but Samsung phones are expensive, but you can't tell because they have great trade-in programs, and you can get the next version of the Samsung phone without dealing with any kind of special trade-in programs like Apple has. Apple has the yearly trade-in value program, but they don't do that through them. It's done through Synchrony Bank, if you don't know. I don't do that. I just buy mine outright. But I had inquired about it one time, and I was like, I'm not doing all that, man. I'm just going to just keep doing it the way I'm doing, just buying. I don't want to deal with anybody else just to get a new iPhone. Because if I decide to keep the iPhone, you get to keep it. But it's just them, it's just you financing a phone through Synchrony Bank with their trade-in program, that yearly trade-in program that they have. But Samsung, you don't need to do any of that at all because, they just have the greatest trade-in values for the most part every year to allow consumers to get out of their previous generation device if they want to and get into the next version. Samsung has been winning in that arena for some years now. Apple and Google's trade-in values are trash when compared. You know, this is why I stopped buying the terabyte versions of phones. The most I'm willing to go now, probably, unless there's some kind of special or free memory upgrade, I'm not buying the highest priced phones anymore because I'm just gonna use them all the time. And plus, I've learned to minimize my onboard storage. Yeah, I've learned to minimize my onboard storage. But when it just comes to raw price and value to consumer, the S25 Ultra will win because it doesn't cost as much as the iPhone or the Pixel, for that matter. Like I know this one comes in at the least amount, I think, but it's too high for what their pricing is for storage options and things like that. That's what I feel. But I think these match each other now? I should double check that. Hold up. Okay, so I got them all loaded up here. Yeah, these two, the XL on here and the XL on the Max on here cost the same. But when you compare these apples to apples, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is clearly the better phone. And then when you get over here to Samsung S25 Ultra, it's more money. But you can't always tell because they have so many discounts. Like this starting point here is $12.99, and over here this starts at $11.99. This starts at $11.99, but just weeding out the Pixel loses on price because it's just not, to me, the overall better. It's not enough packed into the phone for me to tell a person. And then like the processing power of the cameras are bad. That's what I'm talking about. But overall, these are all running neck and neck when it comes to like what you can do with them. So as far as price goes, so they may be running neck and neck, but I just think Samsung, with it, you know, being the way they have that set up, they always come out on top because they have such great trade-in values, and then the trade-in values on Samsung, on Google and Apple are just trash when compared. So in the end, I think it's going to come down to, it always comes down to your personal preference of what you want to do when it comes to buying a phone. That's my comparison of these three phones in a very simple and basic way. It's about as logical as I can bring it across to you. There are obviously a lot of other phones in all these companies' catalogs, but I've weighed them out and given my opinion on them as they sit right now. So it's your man Jay. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Leave your comments down below and your questions. Take care.